Welcome to my little corner of YouTube. A lot of you followed me here from my TikTok University series, and some of you found me in other ways. However you found me, thank you so much for following me over here. Make sure that you like this video, you leave me a comment down below, and you hit that notification bell so that you'll know when I'm posting my next videos. And let me properly introduce myself. I am Dominique Kinsler. I'm a pharmacist by profession and a gardener by passion. Recently, I completed the Master Gardener course for Orange County, and I'm getting my volunteer hours, and I will be a certified Master Gardener. But I'm so happy that you're here, and I want to teach you everything I can about gardening. So let's get into it. Now, the first thing I told everyone over on TikTok to do is to determine two things before they started their gardening journey, and that is number one, finding their USDA Hardiness zone, and number two, getting their frost date. So in this video, I'm going to take the time and walk you through exactly how you're going to find those things out and why both of them are important. Okay, we're going to start with the USDA Hardiness zone. Now, if you go down to the caption below, you'll see two links at the very top. Link number one is going to be what you're going to be clicking on to get your USDA Hardiness zone. So once you click on that link, it's going to bring you to this website. You can see here at the top of the website, it has where you can enter in your zip code. You're going to type your zip code there, and right once you type your zip code, it's going to come up with your hardiness zone right there. So this example that I'm using is of Orlando, Florida. I think it's the zip code for Disney World, and so you can see here Disney World is zone 10A. Now, what is the USDA hardiness zone? So what the USDA does is they study the lowest average temperatures for all of the United States, and they put out this hardiness zone map. Each zone is separated by a 10-degree weather difference. Now, if you noticed in the clip that I showed before, Disney World was at zone 10A. The A and B are going to signify 5-degree temperature differences. Now, the USDA studies this every so many years, and they put out a new map. The hardiness zones are really used by commercial growers, farmers, and even gardeners just as a common lingo when we're deciding what type or varieties of things that we're going to plant. I'm going to use the example of a fruit tree. A lot of suppliers of fruit trees are going to have multiple varieties of them. I'm going to try to insert some clips here of what I mean. A lot of the times they're going to recommend which variety you need based on your hardiness zone. Some trees require chill hours, and that can be determined by the hardiness zone. So that's why it's really important. And additionally, when you're communicating with gardeners online, a lot of the times people are going to ask you, what is your hardiness zone? That is going to give them an understanding of maybe what area of the country you live in and what your temperature conditions are. Now, with the hardiness zones, it's important to note that is the average lowest temperatures. So if you are watching this video in 2025, you know that we experienced some very crazy weather this year. We had the lowest temperatures that we've seen in parts of Florida where there was snow in Georgia, and that usually doesn't happen. Just keep in mind that while those temperatures were low, the USDA is still going to look at things based on the average. So your hardiness zone might not change just because you had 1 year of really low temperatures. It depends on the averages across a few years. So that's very important to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is that someone can have the same hardiness zone as you but reside in a different place and have different weather temperatures. The best example of this is I live in zone 9B, but there's also zone 9B in California. Now, the California weather is a lot different than the Florida weather. So while we may reside in the same zone, our weather conditions are vastly different. So we might have differences in the way that we practice gardening. So it's very important to remember things like that. All right, next we're going to figure out our last and first frost dates. So you're going to go down to the caption below again, and you're going to click on that second link, and it's going to bring you to the Old Farmer's Almanac. You're going to do the same thing that you did over on the USDA website. You're going to type in your zip code. Now, I'm using the zip code for Disney World for both of these examples. So it's going to give me the last spring frost and the first fall frost dates. This is important because you can group your vegetable gardening items into two different categories: frost sensitive and frost tolerant. So first we'll talk about frost tolerant. Things that are frost tolerant are things that can tolerate frost, and a lot of times it can even tolerate snow. So that's going to be things like collard greens, kale, broccoli, some of your herbs, your lettuces. A lot of those things can tolerate very low temperatures, and they can be planted during the fall all the way up through the winter. These are really good crops to keep in mind if you are someone who lives somewhere where it snows and you're worried about what you'll be able to grow during that time. Now let's talk about frost sensitive items. Frost sensitive items are going to be things like tomatoes and peppers. They cannot whatsoever tolerate any frost. It will take your entire plant out. So it's important when you're looking at those frost dates to understand if you're going to be growing something like a tomato or a pepper, you want to plant them out after that last frost date. My rule of thumb, if you live somewhere where it snows or you know the temperatures get pretty low, is to wait at least a week or 2 weeks after that frost date before you put out those frost sensitive things. I say that because a lot of times gardeners are surprised by those weather temperatures year to year. Just like the USDA website, the Old Farmer's Almanac is using averages to estimate when your frost dates are. So you always want to take both with a grain of salt. Now I've helped you figure out your USDA Hardiness zone and your frost dates. This is a really, really good place for us to start when you're starting your gardening journey. Now, what I want you to do is make sure that you're liking this video, that you're subscribed to my channel, hit that notification bell so you know when I post my next video, and go down in the comments below. Let me know some of your gardening questions, and if you did everything with me in the video, let me know your hardiness zone and your last frost dates. I'll see you all back here for our next video. Happy gardening!